Cruz and the Republican Party to this particular story. There's a backstory here that is important for your listeners to know. This attempt to label the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, a threat to American citizens, really goes back several years, when approximately 3 years ago, 5 Republican members of Congress wrote letters to senior departments of the American government that deal with security and intelligence, claiming that the United States was facing a new and dire threat to its existence, and that threat was coming from the Muslim Brotherhood. And they claimed, and they fingered in this letter, they pointed to the name of Huma Abedin, who is an American-born citizen and is also the chief of staff to Hillary Clinton, who was Secretary of State at the time. And this letter by these Republican congressmen and women claimed that because of Huma Abedin's influence and her alleged ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, that the American government was facing this unique threat. And now, of course, what happened is that leading American senators, such as John McCain, took to the floor of the Senate and publicly repudiated this witch hunt, this attempt to take the United States back to the 1950s. Analogies were rightly made to the McCarthy era and the communist witch hunt that took place. And so this speaks to the fact that what we have in the United States today is these very powerful and influential lobby groups that are well-financed and very influential in the Republican Party, that are pushing this agenda forward, that are getting these ideas disseminated, and of course organizations like Fox News and various websites, and also I want to highlight here various right-wing, pro-Israel, Likudnik organizations are financing this narrative, and it has sunk deep roots within the American political culture. And you have people like Ted Cruz publicly announcing that individuals such as Frank Gaffney, who is really sort of the intellectual architect of this narrative that the Muslim Brotherhood is taking over the United States, are now on his foreign policy advisory team. Yes. And this speaks to, I think, what the underlying sources of the fundamental groups and organizations that are pushing this legislation, of course, backed and supported by various lobby groups from Arab authoritarian regimes that I mentioned earlier in my comment.
Go ahead, Salah.
I want to really add to what has just been mentioned now, because it's very important. We have to put things in context and perspective. I totally agree that this has roots, going back many years back, because there has been this attempt to really stigmatize a number of organizations that have an Islamic or Muslim label or name, including, for example, CARE, the Council of American Islamic Relations, for example, and many other organizations, to put them on the list of fear. And CARE, published this report calling, Islamophobia the manufacture of fear. Certain groups definitely are investing in this, industry of creating fear and labeling and stigmatizing certain groups by making claims like they are fostering radicalization or extremism or, violence, or they have links to Hamas, or they are somehow supportive of Hamas, and so on and so forth. And the list can go on and on. And in many cases, these claims are unfounded, and in many cases, they are not based on any true evidence or any facts that can really be tangible. However, they do fall under the cloud of fear and the environment of Islamophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry that we have been talking about earlier. So it's very important to put this move within this broader context.
Right, and Ambassador, I want to just raise the point that you brought up earlier, and that is when you clamp down on political groups like the Muslim Brotherhood in a country like Egypt, you actually send its members underground and possibly on the path to radicalization, as Saha points out.